Tower People's Choice Top 100 Games of All Time. Dice Tower People's Choice Top 100 Games of All Time.
Alright, welcome to another of our Top 100 list. Not our Top 100 list, but your Top 100 list. We've been going through, we took a vote, poll basically, asked people to list their top 20 favorite games, put them together, and now today we start into the top 50. Fantastic, really good games. Are you ready to see some?
Yep.
Alright, let's check it out.
Number 50, Ra.
Ra is an auction game which has gotten a lot of critical acclaim. It's about auctioning for different tiles from a bag, you know, trying to, I guess, invoke the power of Ra and do different things, but essentially it's all abstracted, but just what tiles to get. The thing about Ra that makes it so interesting is there's this pressure point. There's almost a push your luck aspect to it, and it feels deeply strategic. Even if you don't know exactly how to bid, it kind of flows onto you as the game progresses. So you're going for these tiles, but you don't want to end up with nothing. You want to get something for your efforts, and so that is Ra.
Number 49, Railroad Tycoon.
Railroad Tycoon, or Railways of the World, or whatever it's called at any given point in time, is the third iteration of, or actually it's the second, I guess, of Age of Steam. Well, this is a much bigger map. This has plastic pieces. It's a kinder, nicer game. Wide open, not as tight, but a lot of things going on, and it's been popular enough that we've seen multiple expansions for the game come out. A lot of people have really enjoyed it, and I like it a lot myself. I can see how this game is popular. A lot of people like to get together and do it. It has an easygoing flow, but yet at the same time, it's a good game about putting down tracks. There's a lot of train games out there, a ton of them. This is one of the simplest ones, therefore I think for that reason, one of the most popular.
Number 48, The Resistance.
The Resistance is kind of if you took Battlestar Galactica and condense it down to its basic core. You know, people trying to guess who's a member of the Resistance and who are the informers trying to get rid of stuff. The whole thing works together really well. It's a very short, fast party game, and it's a neat game. It's because it has a very similar feel to Werewolf, but at the same time, you don't need a moderator. Just everybody gets together. Some people are in the Resistance, and some people aren't. It's a small card game, and I can see that it's very popular, obviously. That's why it's on your list, The Resistance.
Number 47, Acquire.
Acquire, one of the oldest games that you guys voted for, makes sense to be on the list simply because it's a stock market trading game, but one that, you know, is easily accessible by, I guess what I would say, the masses. Because it's something that you can understand. You buy some stocks, sell them, and there's this grid board with some luck to it. But it's interesting to watch different companies take shape and conquer each other, merge, you know, take over other smaller companies. Very interesting. It's come out in a ton of different reprints over the years. It's been out for, I think, almost 50 years now. Fantastic little game, or big game, I guess, Acquire.
Number 46, Cyclades.
I guess I'm a little surprised to see Cyclades on the list. Not because I think it's a bad game. I'm just surprised to see the how much people enjoy it, because there's a little bit of auctioning. There's a little bit of a war game in it. There's a lot of plastic miniatures, and it's very quick and easy to some extent. Not a lot going on, but there's also really cool, you know, monster plastic pieces which are used very briefly during the course of the game. But I've seen it get it. I've seen wargamers enjoying it. I've seen Eurogamers enjoying it. Ameritrash folk. It seems like all different people from different types of gaming enjoy Cyclades, which I suppose is one of the reasons it's so popular. Also, it has a name that most people pronounce incorrectly, including myself.
Number 45, Ticket to Ride Europe.
Ticket to Ride Europe is a good game. I mean, obviously the Ticket to Ride series is a very popular one. And there's 4 major games in the series with some smaller expansions involved. And people seem to like them all quite a bit. The reason I think Ticket to Ride Europe is so appealing to people is that it's probably the easiest of all the games, in a sense that there's the least confrontation. So I can see why people enjoy it so much. And that's probably for that reason my least favorite of the series, although that's saying very little in essence because I love the Ticket to Ride games. But you can't block people as much, and there's some randomness in the tunnels. I think these things just work together. It's done much better than I expected in these polls. Ticket to Ride Europe.
Number 44, Brass.
Here's a game that I'm just impressed that it's popular at all. Not that I think it's a bad game, but wow, is it very difficult to get into, and that's Brass. Brass is Martin Wallace's game about in the 18th century or 19th century in England, going around using canals and railroads to transport goods back and forth. It's your typical, spend goods here, sell them here, get money type style game. But it's very deep, and the theme is a bit obscure, and yet I guess the people who like it really like it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Brass topped many people's lists who did our poll, which is why it's gone up so high, because I don't think, honestly, that the average gamer would enjoy Brass. But those who do, those who like very heavy economic Euro games, they're going to, which is why it's on the list. Brass.
Number 43, Steam.
Well, we had Railways of the World, we've had Age of Steam on your list, and now we have the one of the 3 that's the most popular according to you guys, and that's Steam. Good choice. That's the same order I put them in. Steam, though, is kind of like Age of Steam 2.0. It really is. It's the same game, transporting cubes around. It's a wee bit friendlier, slight bit better component quality, and that's really it. There's not a whole lot of changes, but the changes, while they seem minor, really make a big deal in the game to the point where I will always choose Steam over Age of Steam, and I can see that many of you do too. And you can see that it came pretty close on the list to Railroad Tycoon or Railways of the World. So those 2 games are both very popular, and I wonder if there had only been one of the 2, where it would have felt in comparison to Age of Steam. Well, we'll never know. Meanwhile, you guys like Steam.
Number 42, Bonanza.
Bonanza is a bean card game. I'm surprised that it's so high up on the list. I thought it might have, when I first got into the hobby, seriously, with all these new Euro games coming out, Bonanza was, everyone was talking about Bonanza. Bonanza this, Bonanza that. A card game where you actually have to keep the cards in a specific order in your hand. That really does matter. Well, I mean, it's worked. It has some. It's still around. It's still popular today. If I told you there was a game about bean farming, you might not be so keen on it. But the cartoony pictures of the beans, the very good trade system that breaks out, because everybody's trying to trade with everybody else, it really does work well. And the game is simple and easy. I've been in games where it went on too long, but a lot of people still like it regardless, which is, again, why it's on this list. Bonanza.
Bonanza. Wait, number 41, Survive.
And our last game for today is Survive. Survive. Now this, I assuredly am positive, is on the list because of its reprint. Because while a lot of people like Survive, I can't imagine that it would have made it on the list otherwise. But the reprint is fantastic. Stronghold Games did a good job bringing the game back into the market as this island is sinking and people run. It is a fantastic family game. Has enough mess with your neighbor type attitude to it, but without being overly mean, because hey, sharks and sea monsters and everything's attacking, oh my. But here you can defend, not defend, but just basically run as fast as you can. It's overall quite a silly game, but I can see why people like it so much. 40 games to go. 40 games to go. Wow. We are closer to the end than we are to the beginning, and that's a good thing. We'll probably slow down a bit, but we want to get this done by Christmas. If you like these games, or some of them sounded interesting to you, or you want to see a full review of these games, we've done quite a bit of that at our website, Dicetower.com. You can go there, check out reviews of many of the games I talked about today. In fact, I've done a review of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. So that's a good way to check them out. You can buy them through the website too. Go to Fun Again and check them out that way. Hope you're having a great week. I'll see you next time.
Do, do.